All right, we are. All right, we are officially live.
Oh
Fish.
man, our millennial
Am I
pause
right?
has begun.
Our millennial what?
You're having
Our millennial
menopause?
pause.
Millennial pause?
Yeah, you don't know what that
Menopause?
is?
Like menopause for millennials?
No, it's what the Zoomers call the delay from so if you're on TikTok, right, and you're going to start recording or you go live, it's the time that millennials take from when they hit the record button to when they actually start speaking, because we don't have the same trust in the technology that Zoomers do when it comes to
Oh.
phones. So when you watch millennials on TikTok or Instagram or anything, they'll press the record button. There's always that pause
There's a
that
few
it yeah.
seconds.
Whereas Zoomers, they hit the button, they're fucking talking,
Yeah,
they're going.
that they don't care about that. And also, it is amazing. Like when you hit Zoom, it starts recording your shit
Yeah.
immediately. Like you do not need to wait.
Yeah.
That shit is immediately.
If this were ran by Zoomers, Tom, ready? This is how it would go. Tell me when we're recording, when we're live.
We're live right now.
That was too slow. That was millennial pause.
You were already too.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
That was the delay in the soundboard.
It was the delay. It was the numerous delays. But Chris, there's can't be any of this. We gotta stay relevant. We gotta keep up with the
In all
times.
fairness, on TikTok, sometimes I'll watch videos and I don't know if it's been edited too short or they started too soon, but I'll miss the first half a word.
Yeah,
at the start of the video.
I mean,
too soon.
That's the thing. They're starting too soon. Sometimes they
hit record as they're speaking. Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, everybody, record."
Because they know how short the attention span is now. They're like, "Oh, was there a half second where nothing was said?"
Kids, today's suspension.
Go to the next video.
Be measured in nanoseconds.
We've got Noah Reno in the live chat. Noah, you're joining us for a little pre-show. This is completely unofficial.
No, this is totally official. The theme song just played. This is 361st episode of the Unranked podcast. Welcome to the show. This is Christian Humes here with Dan Weine.
I'm here
and
with
Tom
Christian
Caswell.
Humes.
And I'm Tom with me and myself.
No, we're live. Let's just roll with it, baby.
Yeah, I like it.
Fuck it. Want to just start with the Pokemon? I don't know.
I mean, can you believe it's this trio? I imagined audiences were probably like, "Oh, Dan will be back for a week and then he'll be gone." But no, it's Tuna,
and I won't be here next week.
And
I usually
Chris is
give
next week.
Plenty of advance notice when I'm not going to be here.
No, I mean, but audience,
no, even on the pod. Usually,
this trio is unusual.
Yeah,
unusual trio.
I'm gonna try and do this correctly. Here we go. The 361st Pokemon is.
Oh,
no guesses from Tom.
Last week we did something.
Snorunt. This is a new Pokemon.
Yes. Okay.
Snorunt.
Yeah.
Dan, Snorunt is an ice Pokemon. Can you tell me what it looks like?
I'm gonna go with what kind of animal do I want to say it is? It's gotta be. I'm thinking bear. I'm thinking polar bear type thing, but a little one, like a little cute teacup polar bear.
Okay, I mean you got the cute part and the little part right. It's not a bear.
Snorunt.
Yeti? Not really. It's almost actually hard to describe. Tom, what would you say Snorunt is?
Oh, I'm looking at it now. What the hell is
it? Like if they took a a little
I know what this
cottage thing and turned it into right. That's what I'm thinking of.
It looks like
pull it up.
One of the bombs from Bomberman is wearing a Klansman hood a little bit.
A Klansman hood.
That's the shape I'm getting from this. But it's like a teepee with a hole cut out for the face.
A teepee. That's what I was thinking. Thank you. Teepee.
So this is one of those Pokemon where you look at it, and what you should, I think, be able to guess is Pokemon does have a lot of influences from folklore. We might call them cryptids. They have, yokai, which are ghost monsters. It's definitely informed by them. One in particular, which is about a small child that's kind of wrapped, that gets carried through the snow. There are yokai that apparently this is most commonly referred to as far as its design that it comes from, which I think makes sense when you look at its evolutions, which we'll talk about coming up, in the next 2 weeks. Because they're not really based on animals. They're definitely
definitely not
spirit-like, demonic-like. This one is supposed to be sort of a spirit, kind of a like playful, mischievous child, like a sprite.
So is it kind of like Ghastly in there with hands and feet?
Yeah, it's meant to be, except it's not a ghost.
Not a bad way to look at
ice
it.
only.
Yes,
which
this
seems
one
like
is
a missed opportunity.
Shirt hat.
One of its evolutions does have ghost.
Sure, that makes sense.
That'll be coming up, but this one doesn't. I mean, its next evolution looks straight up like a demon. So
yeah.
I like this one. It's cute.
I like it a lot. It's such a cool idea.
I think I had the same exact reaction the two of you did, which was I was like, oh, why does it look like it's in a teepee? That was like exactly. I had the exact same.
It's one of those things too, where it's like, is it born with it? Like, is it a part of its physical?
Maybe it's born with it. Maybe it's just a teepee.
Maybe it's just
Maybelline.
Maybe it's just TP.
All right, we can pack it in now.
Well, can you tell me what the origin is? Because Tuna's not here, so
it's obviously from a roll of toilet paper.
The origin. It is also based.
I'm gonna go with.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not gonna guess. It was gonna be wrong.
It's based on Edward Snowden and Runts, the candy. It's
Runts. What's Runts?
Runts?
I'm not.
You don't know what
Runts are? Tiny little hard candies.
No.
Oh, bro,
we gotta send some fucking Runts.
The banana Runts are fucking great. I wish I could just buy a box of them.
They were like little fruits. They were like little fruit candies. They were pure sugar shaped like fruits.
Very good.
All
right, tell us what the real one is. Oh, I can buy a pound of banana Runts on Amazon. I might do that.
Why just banana? You're missing out on some good other flavors of Runts.
I just really like the banana Runts. All right, Tom, you are muted.
Yes.
So tell us about
it's more like an actual banana, not the ones we know.
No, you're not muted. Tell us about that origin.
The name origin Snorunt may be a combination of snow and runt.
What? But it's nothing wintry about it.
A bit of a stretch.
What do you mean it's nothing wintry?
It's wearing a teepee, but
well, no, it's supposed to be wrapped in like a blanket.
Yeah, it's
kind
cold, and its animation is like it's shivering.
Yeah, it's like it's holding itself. And as we've seen, there are a lot of these kind of Pokemon, and you'll see this in just Japanese anime. A lot of like creatures, they'll do anything that's either like spirit or sprite-like will be like kind of all black, and it'll have very few features. But then sometimes they will have a kind of physical presence. So like this one's kind of wrapped. It's got this like hard, warm shell that it like wraps around it to keep it warm. But otherwise, like, I mean, we saw last week, like with the psychic Pokemon Weine and Wobbuffet, like it has that small kind of like black part with the eyes that come off of it on its tail, which like it's just this I don't know what the exact design origin on that is. That's one of those things that actually I should look up, because it's so pervasive in so many forms of media that I've played or watched out of Japan that I just kind of have collectively accepted it, but I don't understand where it comes from, which is one of those things. Probably should look that up. How about a Pokedex entry? And then we'll move on. I'm gonna go with Sapphire because it's blue.
Real quick, just I'm doing some of my camera real quick, so my camera's gonna disappear. So I'm just forewarning you, it's gonna be gone for like 2 seconds.
Right. So anyway,
continue with the thing.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Pokemon.
What's happening with his camera? Where'd he go?
Pokemon Sapphire Snorunt survives by eating only snow and ice. Old folklore claims that a house visited by this Pokemon is sure to prosper for many generations to come. So this is one of those kind of like good luck spirits and not a Ghastly, which is probably why it's not a ghost type. Because I think a lot of the time the ghost types are like a little bit darker in origin when it comes to their background. They're not often as just like playful or mischievous. They're bad omens, more likely.
Yeah. Do you know what Ghastly's name origin is?
I mean, someone that
like,
spent too much time at Taco Bell.
No, Ghastly's name origin is a combination of Ghost and Rick Astley.
Yes.
Yeah.
My cat is trying to
He's
play.
never going to give you up.
Now that I'm actually using these shelves, the cats keep going on them.
Because
I know they're going to just start like knocking shit off. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to like.
this could be fun to watch.
He
This
goes
is why
over
you
to my
need
like
to, this is
Lego
why
a
you need to
lot.
watch
And
us when we do this, so
I
you can
know
watch things get knocked off of Chris's shelf behind him.
I might honestly, I might have to put like a small little lip on the front of the shelf. Is what I'm thinking about doing. Just
you
get
should
like
put like a piece of glass in front, so it's kind of like you can close the shelf.
You know, that's not a terrible idea. It would be really annoying. I think though, if I got like a piece of quarter round, like that, just that thin round part that's on like the bottom of trim, I think if I got that and just cut it and just put it on the front of the shelf, just put like a little piece of trim.
I don't know if that's keeping the cats off.
Oh, not to keep the cats off, just so that he can't just like push something off by accident.
I think it's just giving him an easier, like he can knock over the top half right over that lip.
Could be. That's true. I didn't consider that. I'll have to do something. Or I'll have to just like come downstairs and clean up a bunch of Lego one day. Is going to be the thing.
Just put like put some doors on, some glass doors on there, little cabinet doors you could open from the middle.
Easier said than done is the thing.
Oh, much easier. That's why I suggested the first thing first.
I've moved because then it's like, oh well, now I got to mount something on the walls so that I can have the glass doors actually like hang from the walls, and I got to get a piece of glass that's like the right. You know,
new plan. Just get some cellophane.
Yeah, just get some cellophane. Just put a big piece of plastic wrap there. Yeah, that'll take care of that bad boy. Well, I don't know. Do we just keep vamping while Tom is fucking around?
Tom.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
What's wrong? What's wrong? You don't look nice on your camera. You got to fix up your video.
Well, it's just very dark. It's just very dark.
You kind of look like you're blending into your shirt.
Yeah, I can see that. It is a little
bad. So I was trying to. I don't have NVIDIA installed on my. I don't have NVIDIA Broadcast installed on my computer because I've been wiping it to try and fix the issues. Turns out, if anyone following my issues with my computer, I just needed to be on Wi-Fi. Ethernet for some reason just wasn't doing it, so it had nothing to do with Windows. So I had to restart everything. And
for anyone that's been following,
I mean, it's
anyone that's been following Tom around, like usually it worked for the
people on my stream or anything like that, like it would become a pain for the stream because of like I play like music from YouTube and like the music would just like skip at the beginning and stuff like that. So
that is annoying.
They're familiar with it because of that. Anyway, that wasn't the only thing I did this week though. I think some other things may have happened. We started watching and then Brooke was like, I don't want to finish this right now. It's getting too spooky.
Lost season
7. Wow, can you imagine? Can you now? Well, that's another. We'll save it for the post show. Hereditary. We finally started.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Were you going to ask what would Lost Season 7 be?
No.
I had thoughts.
We'll get to it in the post show, which people can access if they become a Discord subscriber. So go check out the Discord. It's in the show notes, and if you like what you see, we have all of our post-show goodness and all of the goodies there for you. What else? So yeah, we started Hereditary and enjoyed it very much. I knew like the big twist for anyone that's seen it that kind of happens like towards the middle of the movie. And it's very Ari Aster in the sense of like the horror doesn't really it's like all suspense until like the last 15 minutes, which we haven't even gotten to because we haven't like finished it yet.
That's so weird to take a break on a horror movie.
Yeah. She was like, I can't do this movie because it's very stressful. It is very
tension.
But like
let's take a break for a few hours.
Like most horror movies, it kind of falls apart and loses all of its scariness in the last like 5 minutes. So you're basically you're just extending the tension and the suspense and the torture in a weird way.
I mean, it wasn't up to me. I was ready to finish it.
That movie's very good, and then it becomes like really laughable. I think in the last 5 minutes.
Oh, really? Yes. Interesting. Oh,
but I also feel that way about most horror movies. I think once you explain too much about a horror movie, it becomes very unscary, very unsuspenseful, and very ridiculous and silly.
Yeah, it's easier to pick it apart.
Yep.
I'm gonna go see that Knock at the Cabin though.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it too. It's getting knocked at the reviews.
Oh, really? I'd seen a lot of positive stuff, but I haven't. Granted, it was only from a few select sources.
People are saying it's like torturously slow, is what I've been told.
Oh no, not another one.
Not another one.
That is definitely a
My
problem
man
that afflicts even his best films.
My man's been downhill since Stuart Little. I will die on that hill.
We got a 71 on Rotten Tomatoes. I can live with that. I can go see this film.
Yeah, I'll see it too because
Jonathan Groff. We got
Groff.
Mr. Smith.
Ron
Mr.
Weasley
Smith here. Ron Weasley is in it, although I haven't seen him in a trailer. I just see like images.
Oh, I've seen him in the trailer.
I've seen him in the trailer.
I think I've only seen like the first trailer. I don't. Is he a part of the crew that comes and knocking?
Yeah, he's with Batista.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's the thing is,
I was like Batista, Groff, Weasley. I'm in. That was basically like I saw that trailer. I was like, I'll see it.
And the thing is, for me, I do think that Batista is becoming an actor who, like, I just want to watch whatever you're doing. Like, he is my Rock. The people who are like, I'm gonna go see the Rock movie. I don't care what it is.
Yeah,
like that's the thing is like when I saw this trailer with Batista in it, I was like,
he's much better than the Rock.
Oh, well, he's a way better actor.
I think Dave Batista has the ability to actually act.
Yeah,
I don't think the Rock. I think the Rock has a very limited range.
I
think
agree.
the Rock chooses to have a very limited range.
I don't think so.
I think he just wants to have roles where he looks cool most of the time, and that's just everything he does.
But all the movies that are like that he does that are like even a little outside of his range are very,
like the Tooth
very
Fairy?
bad.
Here's the thing.
No, the Tooth Fairy is his range. Comedy, like him.
Yeah,
his physical presence in a way that it shouldn't be is his lane. Like the Tooth Fairy, good. Jumanji, good, because he's not big, strong. But when he is like big, strong, The Rock, and he's supposed to be like emotional or like connect with people, it's fucking weird and it doesn't work.
If The Rock ever was like, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna try and get an Oscar, and I'm gonna try and do a dramatic role, I would go see it.
He could easily beat someone up and just take their Oscar.
Yeah, I mean that would be what
the real shame is. The Rock's going to dunk on all of us for dunking on him when he ends up becoming like the president and just becomes the next fucking fascist president that we have.
He's been planning it, selling Zoa energy drinks.
He's talked about it before. Talked about it. That fucking Young Rock show. That whole premise of that show is that the Rock is the president, and it's a flashback to before he's. This is his plan.
I think he said recently that he wasn't gonna do it, but
that makes me think even more.
Yeah, you're like a little bit more convinced,
especially when he says he calls himself a Republican, and like I'm telling you, man. The Rock's gonna make all of us pay for making fun of him.
I know that after Trump, it doesn't really fucking matter. But you'd think maybe he'd have more standards. But like, there's so many businesses he'd have to divest from. Like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of.
You don't have to divest from them as far as we have seen.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying is like, well, maybe he'll just take the Trump route and be like, no, Zoa energy. Like he's given he's giving the State of the Union, and he's like,
Rondo. It's what plants crave.
And remember, everyone, the patriotic thing: drink Zoa energy. Yeah.
I'll still watch him in Jumanji though. Black Adam is the worst. One of the worst.
Are they making a third one of those? I have not brought myself.
Oh yeah, they are
on HBO
There's a third
Max
one
now for free, and I'm like, yeah, there's a third one.
Yeah. Chris, I don't know if anyone could have been good in Black Adam though. The way that was written was awful.
That's true, but someone could have been better.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think they all could have been equally bad. I don't know if there's any good.
That's a really bad movie. It was a really bad movie. Good luck, James Gunn. The DC universe.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. I've been playing a lot of video games. I also been watching TV.
Oh yeah.
I got a lot of stuff I could talk about, but before I do that, Dan, what are you doing? You watching TV? You watching sports? Playing games? What's going on?
Right now, I have a game on TV, but I'm not really watching it. But in general, not really.
What are your Super Bowl predictions?
I predict that you'll finish that word someday. I knew what you were saying. Let's see. I put money on the Chiefs like mid-season, so I'm gonna root for them.
Okay. Like Chiefs to
I,
win the bowl?
Yeah, like to win the game.
Give us a score.
I'll just be making up numbers.
Yeah, just make up
Let's go
numbers.
with.
Do you think the Chiefs will win though? Like in your heart of hearts, like.
It depends. It just depends what they do. There's ways each team can beat each other or
Sure,
themselves, so it depends what they end up doing. It's not like there's like one team that's like good and the other team's a piece of shit.
Yes,
Okay,
there
so
are a lot of
it is-
Super
it
Bowls
is
where
a-
teams lose the Super Bowl.
There's a lot
No,
of
of
Super Bowls.
course, yeah.
Yeah, where like
Teams
teams
don't
just
always
turned
win
over a
the
bunch of times
Super
to do
Bowl.
dumb shit.
But I've been
Or
following
just
the
aren't
Eagles tangentially, but like I know nothing about the Chiefs season, so I just didn't know if like they were very clearly outperforming them.
But I mean, if Mahomes wasn't banged up, the Chiefs would probably win easily. But
Okay.
because he's banged up, he's gonna get pressured by Philly. It's probably gonna be a lower scoring game. I'm gonna go with 23-17.
Okay.
That's a very close game.
So
now he's gonna make a
my
bet
guess.
on that.
I'll probably like do more research for actually betting on it, but that's my
Sure.
random guess as of right now.
Okay, cool.
What do you think the money line is? Are the Eagles still favored right now?
I
'Cause
looked at
think
it. It
they
was like
were the last time I saw.
I think it was like I think it was Chiefs by 1.5 points or something
Okay,
like that.
so
then
it came back around.
but it's about the same. Like it doesn't matter. You hardly ever get a Super Bowl where it ends 1 point in one way or the other.
That's true.
Because everyone's throwing everything at the fucking window. So like if you're gonna lose, you don't, you just end up turning it over and getting a touchdown the other way or some dumb shit.
Yeah.
Or like the year that the Chiefs played San Fran was it was a close game all the way through, and then I think Williams broke it off for like a 60-yard touchdown run. It just like blew the game open, and then so who knows?
I think one of the real advantages the Chiefs have is just a lot of them have been to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, they put up I forget who posted. I think I'm at Deadspin. They were like 15 of the last 18 Super Bowls have been won by the team wearing white, and the Chiefs are going to wear white in the Super Bowl. But 2 of the 3 teams to wear their color and win are the Eagles and the Chiefs. So it's kind of a moot point. So it's also dumb and just shouldn't affect anything at all.
Yeah, that is very true. Other than Halo last night, have you played anything last week?
Yeah, I've been playing like all my sports games, not all at once, but been cycling through. Like I downloaded the new FIFA because it was like cheap. It's like on sale or something. And that's the same as every FIFA I've played, but slightly better. That I've been playing Madden a little bit and NHL just because I had never finished my franchise season, and I just did before we started recording because it took me forever to do that because it's hard to play like 18 hockey games in a row. Just kind of got to take a break.
Yeah. Who do you play as? Do you play as the Islanders? Or
I made up a team and made a 33rd franchise, the Milwaukee Moose.
The Milwaukee Moose.
That's so good.
That's really good.
Yeah, I think I wanted to make a team the Moose, and I was like, what makes sense for that? And there's already a Minnesota team. And then so the colors are like kind of like the Brewers
Do they have
colors.
mooses in Milwaukee?
I don't know. I just wanted to make the Moose because it had an option for the Moose as a team, and I was like, that's kind of funny.
Moose
That's
is
about it. Yeah,
big fucking animal.
Mooses are big.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
you
feed them.
Fuck around with a moose.
Don't feed the moose.
I saw like a video. I think it was on like front page Reddit, and it was like a moose came up to this like small car, and it hit the back of the car and basically like lifted the car from the back and then dropped it back down with its horns, which is fucking nuts. Big scary animal. Don't want to.
What's the difference between a moose and an elk?
I would guess they're much bigger. I think a moose is a lot bigger. I think it's also just a different species, but I don't.
I know they're different. I'm just saying I don't know.
I don't know.
Like if I saw 2 of them, like and they were the same size, I wouldn't have any idea which is which.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't either. Now that you've asked this question, I realize I don't know fuck all about them. Tom, what's the biggest animal you think you could beat in a fight?
Jesus.
Do you think you could beat Jesus in a fight?
I mean, probably. If
Yeah,
I'm being honest,
he was a scrawny guy, right?
Yeah.
Although he was a
Probably
carpenter.
short, yeah.
Carpenter.
I mean,
Fortnite. What is he gonna be building?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the animal, because like I don't think I could fight.
He has a buff in build mode.
There are small creatures like a coyote, right, that I couldn't take in a fight, right? But it's not big. But I am trying to think of like what is the biggest, because at some point the size.
You're gonna have to fight one of these at some point, Tommy.
Shark
You're not gonna
on land.
Wait, sure.
Which shark?
No, you first of all, you're not surviving a Sharknado.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
I mean, I didn't say I was gonna.
Well, that's when sharks are on land. That's where you can deal with you. They're in NATO form.
I'll say this. I forgot. This is
They're
actually
in NATO
somewhat similar to a question we got today. So we'll come back to this because we have a question coming up.
Okay,
I'll think about it. You let me know.
I'll ruminate. I'll ruminate.
It doesn't have to be the strongest animal you think you can beat. What is physically the largest animal you think you could take down? No weapons.
A panda?
Hand.
Like, if I start fighting a panda, is that gonna attack
ruminate?
Back?
Come back to us.
Okay.
A panda would murder you. I think I could take a giraffe down pretty easily. They got those scrawny legs. I can kind of like pile into a couple legs. I don't know if I could beat it in the fight. I gotta take it down though. I can get it.
When I say take down, I meant like you're gonna win in a fight. Like you're gonna.
Never mind.
Giraffes are fucking nuts because they swing their necks at each other.
Yeah,
that's how they fight.
At each other, but not at humans.
It's crazy. It's like one of those weapons with the ball on the fucking chain where you swing it around. That's just how they use their like heads and their necks.
What about a sloth? I think I can take a sloth. They're slow.
You can take a sloth, yeah.
They got big claws though.
I mean,
big claws, but they're slow claws.
Yeah, that's true.
Would I win in a fist fight with a panda is a question on the subreddit No Stupid Questions.
Well, if it knows it's fighting you, then no. If it doesn't realize you're there, then maybe.
Yeah, no, you would get.
You're just like Snorlax punching it.
You would get fucked.
You won't even wake up.
Anyway. But been playing, Chris. What have you been playing? You said you had been playing
too many
a lot.
Games. I decided so I am I halfway. I looked up the arcs in One Piece. I'm halfway through the game, so I'm putting it down until I'm playing less than some of the games I'm playing. So I'm playing too many games right now.
Too many games.
I'm also pausing Golden Idol, which is easy to do because it's chapters. So I'm like, cool,
which one?
Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh, Case of the Golden.
I'm just like I'm taking Case of the Golden Idol. I'm taking One Piece Odyssey, and I'm saying. But I'm a little bit more halfway through in Golden Idol, halfway through in One Piece. I'll come back to both of these because I know I actually just like will play those again. Whereas like other games, if I pause them, I'm just gonna lose momentum.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway through Hi-Fi Rush. I'm gonna just finish that this weekend. That game is.
It's my intention.
Fucking great. We could talk about that briefly because I won't be here next week. We could do a little game club chat. I've been playing Goldeneye. So I want to talk about Goldeneye for a minute.
Okay. I like it.
What's it about?
But first of all, and I posted this in the Discord, but for anyone listening, it's so funny that I talked about getting these Nintendo Powers like a couple weeks ago, because one of the ones I got just happened to have the codes for Goldeneye in it. Like
classified information.
It has.
Do you think
not one
Pierce Brosnan regrets that haircut?
But no, because it was a multi-million-dollar haircut. 3 pages of codes. A really funny thing in this, though, by the way, is they have this like key code at the top to tell you about what the codes are. So you're like looking at the codes, like, oh, what are these codes? Like, how do I organize these? And they're like, oh, this is a big cheat. This is wacky. This is hot, just for fun, or sent in by a reader. They didn't put them next to any of the codes. So they made this key code, but then didn't use it on the page anywhere. Which I think is really someone when they were designing the page was like, oh, this would be cool to do. And then no one went through and like put one of these, genre icons next to any of the codes, which I think is just a very funny thing to have happened. And by the way, a weird thing is like, I think it's strange that they have sent in by the reader, and they even have a like send your codes to classified at nintendo.com or the mail address above. which is strange because it's like you would think they would know all the codes and that
Well,
this
that's
is
what, yeah,
because this is
right?
like 3 pages of codes.
Yeah.
Like readers sent, like the game was new and readers sent in codes to Nintendo Power already that they didn't
make
know
any
about their own.
sense.
Yeah, no, it's like really weird. It's a really strange thing. So I've been mostly playing it on the Xbox because it's just much more fun to play there,
Yes.
especially in campaign.
Mhm.
The controls on the Switch are a lot harder. They map to like what is an N64 controller. They don't map to like a Pro controller, which I think is weird. You have to do like a bunch of strange things to like get it to play kind of the way you want it to on the Switch. You don't have to do that on the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean the Switch version is just the N64 game. Like that's the
with
deal.
Online. And it's
right.
But it's also in widescreen too, and it's in HD.
But it's not a they didn't do any like they didn't do any work on the game other than like up-resing it, and like the reason it has online is because all of the N64 Switch Online games have online. It's just like you're doing couch co-op online essentially. And then the Xbox One, obviously, like they've put a lot more work into that version of the game. And I'm with you, man. I played the first level, and you know, obviously I've had my history with the game has been college friends will have their N64, they want to boot up and play, and I try and play it, and I'm like, I don't know how to do anything with this, because like the strafing, they didn't know that like the best way to do it would like one is just for looking, the other is for moving. It's a mixed match of both. Couldn't be asked. But having the modern controls, it's easy to see why people fell in love with this game when it came out. Like the first level I found surprisingly engaging and fun, and just like how am I going to maneuver through it? What weapons am I going to use to take out which guys? And like it's almost a little bit, I'm playing on like the hardest difficulty too, and like it's tough. Like it's tough. And and you know, so on the next run through I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch this up, and this guy is here, and it's almost a little bit like a Souls-like, because that's how a Souls game is. You replay it, and then you know where enemy placements are the best way to take people out.
So this is what I wanted to talk about, is that I'm really appreciating the level design, and it's the thing that I was most excited for, and I brought that up specifically like last week. I was like, no, like I understand the multiplayer is a big deal. That's like what we did mostly with the game, but I probably played that campaign like 100 times. That campaign is incredibly replayable because the levels are not very long. They're short. They're like, it's very easy to identify things. And the game like asks you to do things that modern games don't. Like, for instance, you get your mission objectives and you actually have to read the mission briefing because you don't get waypoints. Like, you don't know what, like the first mission, you have to like know that you need to put this thing like on a computer somewhere, but you don't have any information as to where that is. Like exactly, you can fuck that up. You can put it on like the mainframe instead, which I did the first time, instead of putting it on the computer, and then I had to start the whole mission over. Like that, you can fail much easier, and it's because they did build these levels in still the style of like a lot of Super Nintendo games and NES games where you were meant to play them over and over again.
Right.
So what I did was
the time value came in.
I'm playing a lot of them. I'm playing it on like agent and then or double agent first, and then I'm doing the secret agent. Like I'm doing, or it was like agent, secret agent, double agent. I'm doing it in order because the game wants you to play it that way, because there are a lot of like, you turn a corner and there's enemies in a place that you wouldn't expect. They're going to be behind you and just start shooting at you right away. The only way you would be able to get through that part of the map is if you have played it before. So you are absolutely supposed to go through, like play these levels more than once, like learn them so that you can like min max it essentially. Like you can, because you also get very little ammo on the hardest one, and you get almost no body armor. It is crazy. I'm having a ton of fun with that. But there's one thing I got to do now in this game that I never did before. And it's something I think a lot of people don't know about. Maybe I'll make a TikTok of this because I don't use Twitter anymore. Maybe I'll start doing TikToks. I bought N64 controllers so I could play with the actual N64 controller on the Switch, which is if you are going to play on the Switch, that actually is like kind of the way to do it.
And for GoldenEye, you'd hold it the left 2 sticks to make it like a normal shooter now, right? I believe. I read somewhere. So like you have the three handles on an N64 controller.
There's only one stick on an N64 controller.
No, I meant the handles. The prongs coming out of the bottom, like where you hold it. So supposedly if you hold it with like the left 2, it plays a lot more like shooters now.
Oh, and just use the D-pad instead of using an analog stick? Sure. I mean, you could do so the thing you also could do that plays like now, which Rare knew before anyone else, and most of us didn't know about, is that you could plug 2 Nintendo 64 controllers into your N64, and you can use 2 of them at a time. So you just use the 2 center pieces, use the 2 center prongs, one on each controller, and that becomes your left and your right stick. Apparently that was always there. I learned about this a few years ago, and I was like, well, I have no way to play this game, so
I would have looked at
never
someone
get to try
like
this.
They were insane if they were doing that.
Dude, it's so cool. I mean, obviously it's not a multiplayer thing, but for single player, I plugged in the 2 controllers. I've got the Switch adapter. They're like regular N64 prong controllers. They're not just like USB N64 looking controllers. It's fucking sick. It's so cool. It's so weird. I think it's wild that someone at Rare was like, yo, this would be a lot better if like we could move and aim at the same time. But we don't have that on our controller. Well, what if we just plugged in 2 controllers?
2 controls, yeah.
It's cool. You know what I'd like to see someone do? I'd like to see someone do like a run through on the hardest difficulty where one person has one controller and the other person has the other. Like as a co-op style game. It would probably be fun just to even do that on the easiest setting. Just get drunk and try and play together.
Can I ask you, this is maybe take some memory. When you had your N64 originally, did you have multiple controllers? And if so, how did you, which was your controller and which one did you give your friends? Did you always give your friends like the sort of busted one?
Yeah, your friends always got the worst one. Everyone had theirs.
Absolutely.
It was like the one, like the worn out stick that like didn't really work too well anymore.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We pretty much immediately had 3 because like the one came with the console, I think, and then
you got one.
Each of my brothers got one as well. So like all 3 of us had one. I eventually got one of the like see-through purple ones, and then that when I got that new controller, that became my controller.
Yeah,
like no one could I would get mad if I would like come down and I'd see it was plugged in.
You're
I was like, who the fuck was playing? Like, yeah, use your fucking controller. Don't use my controller. I don't need N64 Drift. I don't know what they called that controller. It was just the controller, I guess. They didn't have a name for it. The Trident. I don't need Trident Drift.
The Trident.
I mean, there must have been someone who called it that because it's a ridiculous looking controller. But dude, it was really cool. It was cool to get to play it again. The music's fucking great. Therese was like, at one point, I'm playing the first level, and she's like, so is it just the same song? Like in the over and over? Like in this? She was, and I was like, yeah, it's sick. She was like, you like this? And I was like, hell yeah. I'm like, Therese, this game was like 12 megabytes. Like, what do you want?
Yeah. The music is great. I mean,
so good.
Yeah, the variations of the theme in the different the way in which they, have it the different themes.
It's insane any of those games can handle a soundtrack.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, I mean, they just really like they crunched that audio down. It is playing at a very low bit rate. That's one of the things that like people who had the original PlayStation would look at the N64 and be like, oh, your sound sucks on this console though, because the CDs on the PlayStation allowed them to have like way better audio, like higher fidelity music and things like that. They could load more assets, even though the processing was not as powerful. They could do more because of the size of the games. Every time I think about Mario 64, that game is 8 megabytes. It's like that's an unbelievable thing that I just don't even understand.
It's crazy.
It's because Nintendo refuses CDs. They don't like them. Go away.
Like the photos my phone takes are like larger than Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
Like that's nuts. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's confusing. John Murphy was over yesterday. We played some local Goldeneye, which was a lot of fun.
LAN party?
Yeah, we did a little LAN party. And then at one point I was like, Goldeneye was really good, but Perfect Dark was always way better. He was like, "Oh, I fucking love Perfect Dark." So then I just loaded up Perfect Dark, and we were just playing the Xbox 360 version of Perfect Dark, which they did give it the backwards compatible up treatment. So now it's been, in the 360, they remade the N64 game. They put it in HD and like up-res the textures, but then now it gets upscaled to 4K, and it gets the auto FPS, and it gets the HDR. So it's like all they need to do now is figure out how to get ray tracing in there.
You don't need to put out the new one. You can just keep that.
Oh man, I hope that game's good. Perfect Dark was one of my favorite games. I played. It'll be
good eventually, whatever it is. So Hi-Fi Rush, we can do a little chat on that. Dan, have you played any at all? Are you a part of this?
No, I'm not a part of this.
Okay. Well, as a part of our game club, Hi-Fi Rush is the rhythm action game that came out from Tango Gameworks and Bethesda. Surprise shadow drop to the
You
Xbox
might like
Direct.
it, Dan. It's not difficult. And it's only, I think the game is like 10 hours. It's very funny. It's basically short. It feels like you're playing a cartoon.
Yeah.
Because it visually looks like a cartoon, and the animation and everything is really good. Like it's a very funny animated like sci-fi game.
Maybe. I feel like the next thing I'm playing, because we've been watching Lost again, is going to be Stranded Deep, because I just downloaded that. I haven't played it yet.
I thought you were about to say Lost Via Domus.
Yeah, we keep talking about whether we need to do Lost Via Domus as a part of the part of our thing. Stranded Deep is interesting because this podcast that I'm into is playing this survival game called Icarus, and I was like, oh man, like I'm kind of itching for like a little survival something. And so I was like looking and seeing what was like through Game Pass, because I was like, I'm just gonna it's something I'm just gonna dip into. I'm not gonna like make it my thing, because I know that won't work out. So I didn't want to buy a new thing. I was like looking. I was like, do I give Grounded a chance? Do I jump into Grounded now that the full game is out? And then I saw this Stranded Deep, which what is so you've been playing it, or
no? I downloaded it. I've not played it.
Okay.
I've seen people play it.
It's on Game Pass. It could be on next one if you wanna hold off on playing it for a bit. It is on Game Pass, so it would count.
I mean, by the time I hold off on playing it, I'm gonna be back working again, and then I won't have time to play.
You can do a little preview, a little Game Pass Game Club preview. Okay, well, Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, I'm. I think actually, what level are you on, Chris?
I'm only on like the second or third stage.
The lava.
I put a bunch of hours into it, but like I also like dicked around a lot.
Yeah,
just running around,
like exploring.
I'm very bad at rhythm games.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not struggling with it in any way, but like honestly, like some of the like just like tutorial parts, I was like fucking like missing the timing on it. I'm very bad at rhythm games.
It's funny because it gives you, and the nice thing about
it's very forgiving.
It doesn't the whole thing is like, we're not punishing you if you're bad at rhythm.
Yes,
you just get higher scores and like more efficiently take out enemies, and
but I'm going slow because I'm trying not to button mash.
Yes,
is like the thing. Like I'm trying to do better at it, and I'm annoyed when I'm not doing well, so that I'm like trying to do it correctly.
The fun comes from getting the combos and the timing down and stuff like that. But yeah, the vibe of it is awesome. The way in which like everything, they must have just watched, how like movie trailers now, action movie trailers, like they take music and they like cut the action to it, and like the gun, Baby Driver, right? Baby Driver, the whole movie was like that. Well, it's got a couple of problematic people in it now.
I know, it's part of why I haven't seen it. Now
I'm like glad that I saw it when it came out, because I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I can bring myself to watch it again, because I watched it like so many times as it came out.
If Kevin Spacey was like just an asshole and not like a creepy person, it would be a lot easier to watch.
It would be a lot easier to swallow.
Like I could never watch K-Pax again.
There's so many fucking things that you can't watch now because of that. Anyway, Yeah, so it's that concept as a video game. Everything in the world is moving to the time of the beat. The way that the characters are doing, you have the ability now where you can call in
The drone strike?
Peppermint,
Oh.
and she can like she can break shields by like with her pistol. She can shoot shields. You have that ability. Yeah. The way that is doing like an offbeat, like I forget the term, but like it's still somehow in beat and in rhythm, but it's completely like out of sync with what you are doing. It's so cool, and it totally also gets the flexibility of rhythm as well.
One thing I thought about the summons, by the way, like when you can call people in, is I accidentally spoiled that like as a feature of the gameplay by looking at the controls, because they list that in the controls like for the setup screen, and I was like, oh well, I guess I'll be calling stuff into I'll be summoning characters and it's a battle. I was like, I know what this button means.
Yeah, and it's a super deep game too. There's so many combos you can pick up, so many different finishing abilities. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, so I have been sticking with there's a instead of having a finisher, you can basically get like a huge boost of health. So I've been relying on that one because I've been finding myself in some of the bigger fights to be having some trouble there. But yeah, and it's the story is also a lot of fun as well. I don't know if you've been reading all of the like text logs and stuff like that.
Yes and no. I'll get to them. I'll do like a cursory scan, to see like if I want to read it.
Sure.
Sometimes I just read two and I'll get to another one and I'm like, I don't know.
It's a very interesting game to play right now, because it's all about, right, you live in a world filled with robots. Robots do most of the work. The main character has joined basically this program where you basically become a cyborg, and he is a defect, and his arm, he's got his iPod basically like in his chest. It's his heart and it's powering him, so he's being hunted down. So it's interesting because it's kind of like it's a cartoon, but it's like looking at our future that we are kind of at the cusp of now, with like AI taking over so many different things. But in this future, like it's like all about like the rights of the robots, and like it's about the workers' rights of the robots, and like a revolution in which like these kind of first generation robots are now being replaced by better robots. And it's just funny because like we're just ahead of that basically.
Yes.
And so playing it in today's world is so interesting. Plus, it has just like a really interesting message about workers' rights. There's this character that like talks about like how we are trapped in this capitalist system, and there's like no escaping it. Like you have to engage with it, otherwise
it's got
you
a bit
die.
of Futurama to it.
Yeah,
it's like it's got the Futurama without like the same level of cynicism, right? Where like people are still like kind of, it's a much more elevated version of that, but like with the way the robots are the workers and the way that they like act like humans. I mean, like the very end of the first act, or was it the end of the first act? I can't remember. But you break into, there's like a cafeteria that you like roll into, and there's like all these robots, and like you're wanted, and like they all stop and see you, and you're like up on the screen and everything. It's like they're not just tools, right? Like they're living and like hanging out and having fun, eating food, and like which is most forms of media, that's not the way robots are depicted. They're just like nonstop worker bees, which is kind of like weirdly the point, and probably a more realistic version of what robots would be. This is much more like Futurama.
More realistic than robots taking over?
There's a lot of Bender in it as well.
Yes.
But there's one of my favorite text logs that I come across, and you actually see like a story thread of this basically. But there's a text log, you bring it up. and it's explaining why there's arrows everywhere, because there's arrows like pointing to your direction, and like it's basically like the corporation that these robots work for, they've copyrighted the design of the arrow, and they all get like an email that's like, we have to put up as many arrows as possible because we have to protect the IP.
Sure.
And if we
Like,
don't
if we
if we don't show that we're using the arrow, we're at risk of losing like the copyright on this arrow. And then there's in the lava area that I'm in right now, there's a whole, like a bunch of the text logs all come from the same guy. And it's him like, I'm going to be the best arrow placer. I'm going to place so many arrows. And then like the more text logs you read, the more he's realizing like what a stupid, futile task it is. And it's just it's so funny, and it's so
like Sony with Spider-Man. Like, we have to make as many Spider-Man things as possible, or we lose it.
Exactly. We have to make a Spider-Man movie every 2 years, otherwise, like, we don't get to make any more Spider-Man movies.
So crazy.
So
Spider-Man.
we're making a Madam Web movie, and we're making a Craven the Hunter movie, and fucking Childish Gambino's playing Charles Gambino's playing the Hypno Hustler. You know, like, it's
Wait,
totally
what
that.
Is this?
Yeah, it's a real thing.
When is this happening?
The Hypno Hustler. I've read every issue of Amazing Spider-Man up until I'm like behind 40 issues, but up until like 2020.
So this can't
basically
be in, you know, the MCU, because he's got a different character in the MCU.
Well, he's from a different universe. Well, you know, at the end of No Way Home, you see that like the Venom is pulled from like a different universe,
right?
And he
so
goes back.
The hope is like these guys are in either like Maguire or Garfield's universe, and not,
or their own thing where there is no Spider-Man.
Except for Venom, like, has talked about how he hates Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just
saying I hate spiders, man.
Yeah.
No, because he was like, "Oh, I hate that guy" when Spider-Man was on screen. So it was like
I'm just trying to make it easy for them. I don't know.
And there was that thing with Morbius too, where like there was like Spider-Man stuff like spray painted. So it was like,
Spider-Man.
What Spider-Man is that? I'll be forever mad at Morbius, because Jared Harris is one of my favorite actors. I love him. He's such a good character actor. And they put him in fucking Morbius, which means he probably won't end up in the MCU, and he would be sick in the MCU.
You don't think you're gonna make more things related to Morbius with how well it did both times it went to theaters?
I hope not.
Oh my god!
I haven't brought myself to watch that movie.
No, me neither. It's on.
I did watch it actually, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
That's
my full that's me complimenting it.
That was what I said about halfway through Black Adam. I went to see with Matt, and I'm like, you know, this isn't like the worst thing I've ever seen. And then the other half of the movie played. I'm like, that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I mean, it wasn't good. Morbius was not good.
No, it was not good.
It wasn't even like. It wasn't like even like below. It was bad. But it's not like the worst thing we've seen ever.
No, I'm sure it's not the worst thing ever put on film. I'm sure I could sit through it, but I'm not going. Life's too short. Is there anything else you want to say about High on Life, Chris, at this moment?
About Hi-Fi Rush?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No. High on Life is a very different game with a very different problem.
Yeah,
I think the music is really, really good.
Music's great. Yep.
The music is really, really good.
The licensed tracks both the licensed tracks and the stuff that they make for the main levels is so good.
I think if you have Xbox Game Pass, you should be playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the point of Game Pass, is for shit like this. It's like shadow dropped, like pretty short, single player, really cool, unique, looks fucking amazing, great music, fun combat game.
And we'll get to it in the news, but, you know, I think the future for a lot of studios is going to be, it's kind of following what we're seeing on the movie side, right? Like, obviously the MCU and a lot of the big blockbusters are all within like a small group of franchises, right? And it's very hard to make a big blockbuster film now that has a substantial budget, substantial marketing that isn't tied to some known IP, which is, you know, a ton of problems with that, but that is the fact of the matter. Gaming, we're having a lot of the similar issues, as we're going to get into the news later. Like, everything's gotten canceled. Everything has been canceled. And, you know, I think that it is going to be studios making smaller passion projects that have a quicker turnaround, that, you know, isn't loaded with everything in the kitchen sink, isn't, you know, a technical marvel. It just does something really well that they can sell at potentially lower price point. But the most important thing from the studio side is it doesn't cost as much money to make. Although this game's been in development for 5 years, I'm sure it took a lot of manpower and time and money, but, you know, it's not like, you know, that, you know, building another AAA, you know, third person action game.
But it got a 90. Like, it got great reviews.
100%. Yeah,
like,
it's getting tens in places, you know, like, it's
I feel like you could have come out with this game, charged full price, promoted it for a few months, and it still would have done really well. But instead, they were like, "Hey, here's why you have Game Pass. Go play it."
I think it could have done well, but I think it will do much better in the current model that they've done. You know, obviously with a lot of Game Pass, but that it's the thing of, like, I'm telling a lot of people to play Hi-Fi Rush, and, you know, whether that drives them to get Game Pass or whether it, you know, they buy it for the $30, like, you know. Any other games, Chris?
Yes. So I started playing today a new game on my Steam Deck. It's available on Steam. It's $5. I think everyone should go and buy it. And it combines two games that I have not specifically thought about combining, but actually it's something I've wanted for like 15 years in just in a different form. Have you ever played Frozen Synapse, Tom? Frozen Synapse.
I have not. No.
It's a top-down strategy game where it's a little bit like an RTS in that, like, you have like top-down troops where you like move them around and you have to attack. The gameplay is not really anything like that, but it's just the easiest way to visualize it. But instead of like you versus, you know, the computer or another player, it's turn-based Frozen Synapse, and you both make your moves at the same time, and then like you make your moves and then time unlocks and they play out. So like you have to anticipate what you think they're going to do on their turn. It's almost like imagine if you were playing chess and you both move chess pieces at the same time. Like, that's kind of like how that game works. This combines that idea with Super Smash Brothers. It's a turn-based fighting game. It's very low rent, looks like, you know, pixel stick figures.
What's the name of it?
It's called Your Only Move is Hustle. Your Only Move is Hustle. It's fucking sick, dude. It's so cool. I put a link to it in the Discord. Should check out that. There's like a video clip of it on Twitter. It looks so cool. It'll play, you can like have it rewind and like play out all the last moves, or like play just specifically the last move after each turn. It'll just keep looping it while you select your next move. But basically on every turn, you're deciding like, am I going to use a form of blocking? Am I going to use a form of special attack? Am I going to change like the direction of like my momentum? Do I want to do a movement based like option? And then the other player does that, and then it plays out both things that you've done, and you end up getting in places where like you're just getting the shit comboed out of you, or you're comboing the shit out of them, or you're trying to block or break out of that. It's very, very cool. It's a really cool little game.
I'm looking at it. It looks, does it play well on Steam Deck? I'm seeing a lot of UI.
Yes. Because it's literally just point and click. So you could tap it with your finger on the screen, or you could just use the on-screen cursor. It is literally just a mouse click. That's all you need to play this game. It's awesome. It's very cool. I had basically gotten bodied every time, because the only complaints I have about it is, as a very small indie game, there isn't really like good onboarding as to like how to play this game. And I guess it's been in beta or something, so a lot of people know how to play this game. But if you get it, Tom, I think we can have a little match against each other, and that would be
I'm probably gonna. I mean, if it's $5, I'm probably gonna pick this up.
Yeah, it's cool.
This is really cool.
It's cool as hell. I mean, there's no reason like this. This could go on the phone. This could go anywhere. Like, I would play this.
So So it's a little chunk at a time, right? Like you're picking a
you
move
make a
and then
single
it plays
action,
out.
like whether
Right.
I'm doing a movement or an attack or a block or a special.
And then at the end, it like plays the whole thing, or
yeah. And as you're going, you can also like have it play back. You can like press a button to like make it rewind and play the whole thing. But yeah, you can watch the whole sequence through as well.
This is so cool. Yep,
it's a very cool idea.
Shit, Chris, damn
now,
it.
I want to say something about this concept because
it like just came out today too. Holy shit.
Yeah. If you look this up, if you look this up and see a video of it, it's very cool as it plays out. This is what I've always wanted out of Pokemon. This is what my dream Pokemon game is, where I am the trainer, and I would turn off the turn-based. I would make it time attack turn-based, where like every option I pick has like a time meter on it, so I can't repeat things. But imagine if like you could do voice command, or not voice command, but voice command would be best. And you're calling out the moves to the Pokemon, they're playing them out just live like that, or asymmetrically, where like you and the opponent are each doing things, then it takes them playing out. How sick would those Pokemon battles be if you're like, move over there and then do your attack, and like the Pokemon were fighting it out? And it would be very, very awesome. Yeah. I hope that this takes off, because there should be more games that use this mechanic. It's very
Metapod, cool use Harden.
That'd be sick. Stay still.
Metapod, use Harden.
That's such a funny episode, because it shows like how they're just like really are little kids. They're just like these two kids, just my Metapod's harder than yours. Like they're both just like, they're like gonna fall over because they're also like stiffening up as they're saying it the whole time. That's a classic right there. Good episode. Good reference, Dan.
How did you find this?
The internet.
I understand. I just was curious if like you saw, well, like where you saw it.
Reset.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah. I think this could be like, looking at this has all the trappings of this year's Vampire Survivors.
It could,
you know what I mean?
It could. I'll tell you what, it's a harder game than you think to play.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because right now there isn't a good like single player mode, or when I opened single player mode, maybe there's a way to do it and I just didn't understand. I was picking the actions of both people. Like it wasn't like I was playing against the computer. Maybe that's the thing I have to turn on. And it's just one of those like, well, this is a very indie game, and the person who made this isn't necessarily good at like the UI or like how to explain how the things in the games work. So it was like very clunky, but the actual game part is very good.
the top review of it, top rated review of it on Steam, that has 119 people found this review helpful. The only thing in it gives it a thumbs up, whatever, and just the text is just chess 2.
Chest.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm definitely gonna check this out. This is totally up my alley. And for $5 I will absolutely, and it seems like it's one person that's made it, so definitely gonna give him my money.
Yeah, it was cool. Very cool. That's it for me for games.
Yeah, I'll quickly just touch on, before we get to news, the other thing I've been playing, Dead Space. Is this a game either of you have played the original?
I did. I didn't finish it. I thought it was too spooky. I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not my kind of thing. I've seen people play it though.
So this is the remake that has just come out through EA Motive, who are actually working on the next project. Is going to be a standalone single player Iron Man game.
We'll say.
They might be making Dead Space 2 remake.
Is it a golf game?
Oh yeah, Iron Man. Yeah.
Is it like an architect game?
Yeah.
Is it just like ironing clothes?
Anyway, Dead Space Remake is a game that, again, kind of like GoldenEye, totally understand why people love this game and how unique it was when it came out. One of the cool things, I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's no HUD. All of the elements are in the game. So your health bar, you have like a spinal column on your exoskeleton that has the health bar. Yeah, so it's like low red is, low health, and you juice it up and it fills with this liquid. So all of that is there. The ammo is displayed like on the gun and highlighted and stuff. And it's about dismembering. You've got to remove the limbs of these creatures. It's like playing Alien the game. There is this ship. There are creatures on the ship, but there is a mystery to it. It's not just like, oh, there's an alien. Like there is a twist, and that there's storylines as to how twists and turns. We have turns. There is a storyline of like where this stuff came from and like how it got on here, and it's actually very interesting. Like I am trying
until
to learn
the third game came out, and then it went.
I heard that
in
the
a
third
weird
game
direction.
is terrible.
I enjoyed it when I played it, but I was like
3.
I couldn't. The first one I couldn't get pulled into it because just like the spooky games, they're harder. I get a little too like drawn into games a lot of time when I play it, and then it's like I can only play those games for like an hour or two, and then I'm kind of like tapped out, and then it's easy to fall off of a game. And also, it's not an easy game.
It's tough. It is tough. Getting you have to it forces you to use all of your ammo and all of your abilities.
Yeah.
You have a stasis thing so you can slow things down, which is used for the puzzles, which are so cool. There's this one bit, and it's where I was like, oh, fuck, this game is so dope. And actually, I don't know how it was done in the first game, because I know that the flight mechanics were implemented in this remake. They weren't in the first game. They were introduced in Dead Space 2, and they kind of brought them over to Dead Space Remake. But there's this point where you have to turn the centrifuge back on for this ship. And when you get into it, the room is zero gravity because the centrifuge is off, right? So you can float around, you can fly around, but now you've got aliens crawling up the walls and like diving at you through zero gravity, and you've got to dodge them and shoot them.
Not ideal.
And so that is like really tough, as you have to like go and like reconnect all of the things. So it's like that level of difficulty. Then once you turn the centrifuge on, the gravity comes back on. And so you're like, great, now I can like firmly, like we're all like constricted by gravity. So now I don't have like aliens flying around me. But now I'm in a room that is spinning with these giant arms, right? Because that's what the centrifuge is doing. So now you have to avoid those as you move through the room, and you're like, fuck, I wish I had the zero gravity so I could just float to the exit. And I was like, wow, what a cool concept of like, you have the same room, you're just having to interact with it back to back in two very different ways. So I've been playing a lot of that, and I've just honestly, like, even with Hi-Fi Rush, which I've been loving so much, like I've been more wanting to just get through Dead Space. And yeah, the monsters are gross.
Too many games at once. I've
it is
made that
very tough.
I think 2 episodes ago I said I'm done playing more than one game at a time, and now I was playing like 5 fucking games this week, and I'm not finishing any of them because of this.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to finish it and both it and Hi-Fi Rush very soon. I'm pretty far into Dead Space, but yeah, I've been enjoying the hell out of it. And I think what they should do, from everything that I've heard, is remake the second one and then do 3, but do it like people hated 3. So they should just like remake the third game.
They should just
remake it.
2,
like, new story, new everything.
Have James Cameron come in and just make Dead Spaces, but
Dead Space
$.
James Cameron.
Dead Spaces. I like that a lot. That's
Avatar,
good.
Dead Space.
Avatar 3, man.
We'll see when that fucking Avatar game comes out.
I'm really hoping, and they haven't announced it, so I know it's not going to happen. But that Avatar Frontiers game, you think that's getting delayed, or is that coming out
this year? I don't think it's coming out this year. I think I've told you. I don't think it's coming out this year.
I would love for it to get delayed only so that they could add PSVR support, because I want to play. I want to get in that Avatar world in VR.
The only reason I say the reason I say that is because we know nothing about that game. We have seen nothing about that game. So I think that the moment we start hearing about it, like it'll be like another year from that point, and I don't think we're hearing about it anytime soon.
That actually brings up something that I think has to do with the news. So why don't we go ahead and do that?
Let's do it before Dan cuts his lip with his scissors.
Careful. Speaking of Ubisoft games that we haven't seen a lot of. Oh wait, no, it's not Ubisoft. I forget that they're not. It's so easy to think of Jedi Fallen Survivor as an Ubisoft game because the gameplay feels so much like an Ubisoft game.
But it's good.
It is, but it is, yes, but it's, yeah, but Assassin's Creed games are good.
Assassin's Creed good. I don't want to disparage.
Words that if you go back to the first half of this series of podcasts that we made, you'd be like, what did he just say?
Flip flopper.
That game got delayed. We don't know a lot about Jedi Fallen Survivor. We've seen a trailer for
just Survivor.
Oh, sorry, Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor. Yep. Yeah, we've only seen one. We've only seen
Jedi Surviving Order.
We've only seen one gameplay trailer, and it seems like it made sense. Like they basically kind of are shadow dropping it. Like, cool, it's coming out in a few months. Like we're announcing it here. It's coming out in a few months. You're only going to see one gameplay teaser, and I really was hoping that would continue. Then we would get it in March. Yeah, granted, they're only delaying it 6 weeks, which I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna.
That's a lot of time if you're just doing bug fixes.
Sure.
Which is probably primarily what this is, right?
Yeah. Oh well, totally. Yeah, it's definitely part.
I mean, that is a lot of time.
The game has to be feature complete at this point. And I hope it is bug free because I went back and was checking out some of the issues I was having with the game when the first game when that came out at launch, and man, I had some big bugs with that one.
But that's my hope, is that they know this game cannot repeat that.
Yeah.
And so not only does it have to be bug free, but it needs to be actually we can't have it be fucked up at all. And so I think they're probably you know what, these are not problems that I think we're going to get away with. We're going to get too dinged on it because of the first. That's my hope. We also don't know. It could still come out like a broken piece of shit like the first one was, which is why I didn't play it. I didn't play it for a year. I waited basically a year to play that game, or a year and a half, because it was broken. And then when it wasn't broken, it was a good game. So it's almost like they just shouldn't put out video games until they're done.
I think they should put them out the second they think of them, and then just slowly add pieces.
I mean, early access.
Yeah, early access is where you want to go.
Turn it on. It's just a black screen. Yeah, that's all we've got so far.
One code at a time. Yeah, I like that. It's just a concept. I like that a lot.
So it got delayed. For it. But Resident Evil 4 comes
now.
Out
It's close. Now it's closer to Breath of the Wild and shit. You know,
oh, that is bad.
Yeah, it's close. It's way close. It kind of had a little bit more breathing room, even though it is next to Resident Evil. Is that wait? So are you interested in Resident Evil 4?
Resident Evil 4 is one of the only Resident Evils I've played all the way through.
Or a horror game.
I don't know what it is about that game.
Interesting. I've never played it.
I think it's not as isolating as Dead Space, which is why you know what the problem is? Dead Space is too many jump scares. Because it's just you're isolated. It's dark. It's quiet, right?
Every level, Chris, is I go into somewhere and it's oh, you need to reroute the power. Guess what you need to reroute the power from? The fucking lights. Yeah. So you go through the room. It's well lit.
Where is that? On the opposite side?
It's on the opposite side of the room. You go to the opposite side of the room. You turn the power off. And then suddenly it's filled with aliens and you can't see anything.
Yeah. So that is why I have that issue. Whereas Resident Evil 4 is almost it's it's science fiction zombie esque. It's
goofy.
Scary.
Resident Evil is goofy.
If you have a guy walking around, what do you buy?
I'd rather play.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not into scary shit. I'd rather play Resident Evil, which is a landlord game where you have to just evaluate different people who might be living in your building.
Okay. I thought it was going to be Resident Elevation, and it's a Sims-like thing where you build housing and condos and you have to sell them, but they're all they're all in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, SimCity.
Yeah, you do it. But it's just mountain-based homes.
Okay, so they have to be elevated in some way.
They have to be elevated. Yes.
So that's Resident elevate, I guess.
Yeah,
Resident Elevate.
Elevate.
So
I'm excited for that.
While Survivor got delayed, yeah, I'm very excited for Resident Evil 4 because I've like I said, I never played it, and I
my light
like
fell.
all of the remakes.
I was wondering what was going on back there. I couldn't even think of like it was falling. Oh, R.I.P.
So not only
This one
has
had fell last night. I came down and it was on the ground.
Not only has Survivor been delayed, but thankfully not cancelled, because that is what happened to a new Titanfall game called.
This is why Alex isn't here, by the way. He's still recovering.
He's recovering from this. To be clear, it would not have it would have been a Titanfall game. It would not have been like a straight play on Titanfall 3.
Yeah, because they say it took place in the Apex Legends Titanfall universe.
Right. And at this point, Apex Legends is way more ubiquitous with people, so it leans heavily into Apex Legends. But we did learn that it would have been called Titanfall Legends, and it would have brought back BT from Titanfall 2, the robot. And it would have been.
That's what people miss about Titanfall.
Basically, I mean, it is. People loved BT as a character. Basically, the idea would have been that as you progress through the story, BT would have you basically be running into different Apex Legends heroes, and they would grant him new abilities based on their powers from the game, which sounds pretty cool. But basically the guy, Muhammad Alavi, he was helming the project. He left the company last year. And basically it was kind of like the writing was on the wall for this project once he left. Yeah, so that's a real bummer, man. Could have been cool. Apparently it would have been very much like Doom Eternal, like a lot of like fast paced, like just keep pushing combat. And it's a shame, because it sounds dope. And respawn right now, the only reason EA is making any fucking money. Apex Legends is the only reason they're
FIFA, Madden as well.
Okay, sure.
No one plays those games, Chris.
They just buy the cards from them. That's what they do.
No one plays them. They go
on YouTube. There are like fucking YouTubers that like they're just on YouTube and they're opening digital card packs, and that's like what they do.
The biggest waste.
It's crazy, dude.
I turn on Madden and I have to go through like 6 different no options because I don't want to do the fucking ultimate team card shit. And they're like, "Do you want to open this pack?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "How about you buy one of these packs?" No. And then I can finally play the game. Every time.
It's so crazy. They need to get that shit out of these games.
Yeah, so there you go. Apex Legends spin-off.
They also shut down the Apex Legends mobile game, which I was under the impression that Apex Legends mobile was just like, how Fortnite, you can play the Fortnite game on your phone.
Separate game.
Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they get it to run like Fortnite?
I mean, it's a good question because Apex is built on Unreal, so it's not like it's because it's Frostbite and there's no way to do it.
I mean,
it's a separate game. There were heroes in the mobile game that were mobile exclusive, so now like people are wondering like what's gonna happen to them. It's
on Switch, dude. If Apex Legends is on Switch, it runs on my phone.
Yeah, I mean that is a good point, and maybe that's what they're looking at,
maybe.
Right? Because they did say that they have plans for a Apex Legends on mobile in the future.
Oh, okay. Then that might be it.
But I wonder why they wouldn't. I mean,
maybe there's someone there maybe it drives resources just maintaining that game. Maybe it's just, and they're like, if we pull those resources away, then we can put them towards. Because that was something when I heard that, I'm like, why would you take away the game from mobile? And then I'm like, wait, this is a separate game.
Yeah.
Why would they even do that in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a big part of Fortnite's cash cow.
Granted, I mean, maybe it is just because like it isn't Respawn that makes the mobile game. Like it's another. It's
Sure.
they had a studio that they now shuttered who built it, but you would think, they'd figure it out. I don't know. Very confusing. Apparently it just did not take off. I also think, something that we're seeing with all these other cancellations, right? So just to run through, let's rattle them off real quick, Rick, real quick.
In a song.
Rumbleverse is canceled too. It had only been out for half a year. And Knockout City, it's gone as well.
I don't got a couple years out of it.
When did that come out? I can't even remember.
It'll be out for 2 years.
It'll be 2 years,
yeah.
2021. Oh, such a shame. Or
maybe 2020. I don't even know.
And that's the thing is like when Rumbleverse got canceled a couple of days ago. That game has been out since August. It's been out for no time at all. And then
real win for me.
And then play it. Knockout City,
people believed in Knockout City a lot more than Rumbleverse because it went from being like on EA or whatever, and then it went to or it was like its own game. Yeah, it was published by EA, and then they went to Epic, and then they like went solo. So it was kind of like
it's weird. I mean it had, I think also like a big thing it had is like it wasn't necessarily chasing a trend. It was like its own thing. It wasn't like Rumbleverse, which was like, we're gonna try and make another fun battle royale game, which a lot of people liked. A lot of people liked Rumbleverse.
I played it with Tuna. We played a couple rounds. It was a lot of fun. I really like the idea of a like hand-to-hand third-person combat style game like that, instead of it being more like shooting in a battle royale. It was a lot of fun. So I mean, I suplexed someone off of like a building, off of like a skyscraper. It was fucking sick.
I saw some gameplay. It looks a lot of fun, but that got canceled. Apex Legends. The story, the lesson to be learned by all of this is don't simply chase a trend. If you're chasing a trend that is already been chased to death and has been out for years already, like Fortnite, you're already too late. No matter what kind of, you have such a tremendous uphill battle. That being said, I don't think it's impossible to like come out with a battle royale now. But the key is you have to have content past launch. You have to have this shit lined up. Another thing we're learning, Jason Schreier put out a report that is basically like Infinite is not going to be the 10-year plan that 343 planned for.
I actually don't hate that, because I think having a 10-year plan on a game that launched on your old generation as well, and it has to run on your old generation, is fucking stupid.
Yeah. So that they're focused on getting the Unreal the project that is built on Unreal, which is a huge part of why there's been so many issues, is like they've just spent the last decade trying to decide whether they're doing Unreal.
Yeah, and it was done for them to build their own new engine too.
Tatanka is this battle royale project that might be expanding into something else, something bigger, supposedly, that they are working with Creative Assembly on, which is another studio, and it's built in Unreal. It's a Halo game built in Unreal. But yeah, it sounds like Halo Infinite is not going to, have even a couple more years. Like they might say in a couple years. Excuse me. I think it'll depend probably on how 2023 goes for them. Like
there must be something really broken with their engine that they can't just make maps faster than they do. Because realistically, like the biggest problem they have is they can't put out new maps.
Content, yeah.
Like there's just not enough maps and things to do.
I mean,
Forge is great, but like what are we doing?
I think it's more of a structural issue, and the things that we hear out of it is like Microsoft hires a lot of contractors.
Yeah.
And the problem is like they're coming in. This is an engine that no one outside of 343 knows how to use.
Yep.
So they're coming in, and instead of like, it's built in Unreal, this thing that you've learned the thing that is ubiquitous among all game developers is they know how to build stuff in Unreal. So they bring in a contractor for a temporary period of time, and half of that time they're having to spend out and figure out to use the engine before they can start making content. And I think like that's where the problem is. And, you know, I think that the reason they've stuck with the engine so long is because the people that have been there, it sounds like for a long time, are concerned that they're not going to be able to recreate the feeling of Halo in Unreal, which seems
I think that's
kind of crazy, but they
it's
would
like,
know
I'm sorry,
better
but
than
you made a new engine. So if you were able to make this game in a new engine, you know,
but they've been using the engine for right. Well, I guess
Slipspace was just for Infinite. Like they weren't using Slipspace before, so it's.
But I think it's built on whatever the previous Halo engine was. So it's, but again, yeah, I mean, I agree, but I don't know anything about game development. So, you know, that they are a little bit more of a, you know, obviously.
Honestly, Slipspace felt to me like something they had to build because they needed to make a Halo game look good on an Xbox One, which ran like shit.
Right.
You know, and it's like, well, they don't have that problem anymore. You have Unreal now. Just use it.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite looks fucking amazing. Like if you can make Fortnite look good, you can make Halo look good.
Oh my god, I would. I mean, I really hope that they're able to turn this around, and I think that, you know, the death of Infinite when it eventually comes, will hopefully.
Season 3 is going to tell us everything, I think, about the future of Halo. Right? It's like whatever the new maps are, and if they can fix Forge and like fully launch the customs browser and it works and everything's working properly, that could be a big game changer for the longevity of the multiplayer. But that's like it. Like if it doesn't, people aren't going to come back again. You know, you only get so many chances to bring people back to it.
Do you think this year that I guess it's a two-part question. How do you think the season 3 is going to be and the reaction to it? And do you think that this year we would see Microsoft come out and basically kind of like give a little bit more credence to this and say like, we are changing our plans for Infinite, we are going to
I think they'll support Infinite with new maps, even if they're just making like, you know, 2 a year and Forge and stuff until because they don't want to anger their hardcore fans, because they're going to need those people to evangelize their game to all the people who fell off of Halo.
But don't you think the better thing to do for the hardcore would be to like, hey, we really fucked up, we are moving to Unreal, which will make the process of creating the next game much faster, or once it's out, it'll be easy to get content out. I guess
it just depends on like who's running the show, right? Because it seems like they're gonna have to replace a lot of people. My guess is that no real decisions are actually even being made as like what the fuck is coming and when, or what they're doing with Infinite, until like they actually get new people in there, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's too hard, but I would be shocked, especially with Forge, because Forge is like, I mean, we played Forge last night. Like or 2 nights ago. Forge was fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we have fun with it.
It was last night.
Okay, it was last night. Okay, that was.
We also got booted like 3 times from game.
We did, yes.
Yeah. Part of the experience.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like all these fixes are. They said like all the problems that are coming with it are going to be like will be resolved in season 3. Because
with the battle pass for $13.99.
Well, no, just with an update. Well, the Forge and the custom browser and stuff wasn't supposed to be available. Like we weren't supposed to be able to do this yet. And then they just decided to put it out early. They were like, well, you're better off having more shit to play, because otherwise we know no one's going to even come in here. Like people aren't going to build Forge maps for people to not play. So we're going to just put it out. Well, it is.
They put it out earlier than they were ready to, but still pretty late in the game.
Forge on all of the other Halos came out after the game launched.
I feel like there wasn't as
like almost like a year. So
really?
Forge came a lot later. I think one of the Halos, it might have been there at launch, but like they didn't have custom browsers either back then. Like they had to build new features and things for this with this one. Forge has often been behind. I mean, they came up with Forge like in Halo 3, like the game had been out, a DLC pack had been out, and they introduced Forge. Like they made a new map that you could build maps on. And then with Halo 4, like when they launched Forge, and then Halo 5, they did like a thing called Forge World. Like things were introduced later. Like the actual like customs browser that everyone's wanted is something that people have wanted for like years. But I guess like they had to get it working. So, you know, that's why it's broken, because they knew no one would be playing these maps, right? Because if for us to play these maps, Dan, the only way it would be able to happen right now is I'd have to like go on Reddit. Someone would make a map. I'd have to join their custom game. So like I'd have to befriend them so that they can invite me to a game. Then I could like save that game locally, and then I could start a custom game with you. And if anyone wanted to play with me, I'd have to like, they'd have to know my gamer tag, like if there was no custom browser.
Yeah.
And so that's why they were like, well, it's broken. It doesn't really totally work. It's going to crash. Forge has like duplication issues where the magnets break and things get resized when you duplicate them. But people will still fuck around and play with it. We'll have more people playing our game for 6 months than if we don't. So that's why they put it out. Will they fix it? I don't know. I'm less optimistic than before. I don't want to be a 343 apologist at this point. There aren't a whole lot of people left there.
No, there's not. No,
you know?
There's not really a studio left to defend.
Are there 3, 4, or 3 people left there?
Yeah, there's 3, 4. I don't know, maybe 3 people left.
There's 3 exactly.
Any other news, Tom?
No, we could probably move on. Oh, there might be a direct next week.
We'll see. Yeah, Advanced Wars Reboot Camp got leaked to come out on the 10th of February, supposedly.
Oh, 10th. Okay.
And it seems like Zelda's coming on time, which is wild. Email at unrankedpodcast.com, or you can call in 805-738-8692. That number is 805-738-8692. Email at unrankedpodcast.com. Go to the show notes, go to the Discord, go to questions for the pod, drop a line with question, comment. Tell us how your Game Club games are going, or I don't know.
Well, don't.
What snack food you like? Just drop a line. Like
yeah, and there's a really cool feature now where you can basically customize the server to your liking. So if you are a part of the Discord or you join the Discord, there are rooms that like, if you know you're not going to use one thing or the other, you can actually like hide it and like make it cleaner and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yes,
that is cool. All right. This came in from Kill Care Bears. How many 4-year-olds do you think you could take on? This is assuming you're in a wrestling type arena where you can't leave and you get no weapons. Yep. This is also assuming you have 0 moral quandaries. All right, everyone think of their number.
Yep.
Don't say it till we all have ours, and then we're going to say them at the same time so no one adjusts. Hand-to-hand combat in a wrestling ring.
Are they all attacking at the same time?
Yeah. Okay. It's not.
I mean, they're not strategizing. They're 4-year-olds.
It's not a marathon of 4-year-olds. It's.
Well, I was just thinking, like, are they all?
Hold on. I want to answer it both ways now. I want to know in a marathon of 4-year-olds how many you can beat up before you get too tired.
And I assume they are also the same. They don't have any like. They're out to kill. They're out for blood.
Yeah.
They're
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my number.
I have my number.
All right, we're saying at the same time.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
20.
All right. Well, what did you say, Dad?
6.
I said 6.
You're only giving yourself 6?
4-year-olds are small, man.
They are,
really
but like
small.
I feel like if 2 each are taking my legs, I can only punch 1 at a time.
Keep in mind, though. Keep in mind, they are working together. However, they have the mind of a 4-year-old. So this isn't like an adult with the body of a 4-year-old where they can like strategize and like work together, and they're not going to be like terrified themselves. Like they are just also people too. So like they will be scared, they will run, they will flee, they will scream. Like I think you like need to be overwhelmed. I think it's closer to somewhere closer to Tom
It's
and
the
I.
Mr. Smith situation where they're just like piled on you, and I'm just thinking like, how many can form a cocoon around me that I
think
would
you
be
can
crushed?
Neo your way out of a pile of 4-year-olds?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Here's the thing: you can just chuck these.
No,
we
you
have
can
no
use
moral...
them as a weapon. You just pick them up by their
I'm
feet.
doing the I'm doing the Neo spin where I'm just taking one of them.
Yes,
I'm telling you. Now the thing for me is like, well, are
this
they
4-year-olds are small?
like,
4-years are
Someone
very
who
small.
swung a 4-year-old at other 4-year-olds.
I'm like the thing is like I'm thinking, well, like when we start, are we like what's the like how much time do I have, like distance, like are they on me immediately? Like, you know, there's a bunch of parameters, but I was thinking like, yeah,
I think
for me,
you're
I
in
think
the center
20.
of the ring, and
Yeah,
the
they're on the
4-year-olds
edge,
are
and
all
they're charging.
equidistant lining you.
Okay,
But again,
and they're
no,
charging.
They're doing
'Cause
whatever they do. Like, are they charging? I don't know. What if you think all 4-year-olds are going to charge? Some might charge. Some might cower and scream. Some like again,
Well,
they
that's
are
the thing.
4-year-olds.
I'm assuming these are rabid
But
4-year-olds.
that's what I'm thinking is like the only way that it makes sense is if they are a little bit rabid.
No, I think the only way it makes sense is that you take 34-year-olds and you tell them, not 34-year-olds, but 30.
Holy shit! How many 34-year-olds could you
take?
Take
a couple of me.
I could take
one.
20
I could take one 34-year-old because I think if I was outnumbered, I would lose to I think I would lose to 2 adults.
34-year-olds. How many 343-year-olds?
But no, these aren't zombies. They're just children. So you have to keep in mind they're not going to be coordinated. This isn't like this isn't like a pack of small raptors.
I think you're underestimating 4-year-olds. Did you watch Rugrats?
I don't think I'm underestimating 4-year-olds.
I mean, Rugrats,
the average
babies,
the average
fucking
4-year-old is about 40 inches tall and about 40 pounds, which is like actually very interesting that those numbers seem to line up.
Yeah, come on.
Let's
they
go
back
to the animal. What is the biggest animal you think you could take down? Let's say by like mass or weight. By weight, what is the heaviest animal you think you could take down? Hand to hand, no weapons. Mano y mano.
There's very few. I think they're all smaller than me.
I'm probably repeating it again and saying sloth.
Yeah, like a sloth or a koala.
Sloths are big, but they're also
how big is a sloth?
Fucking do that much. So they could be pretty big. They could be like people size.
They could be people size
if they're like in the jungle, like in fucking places where you wouldn't be.
Most
sloths
like
you see are like
answer.
All right,
what's your cheap
size? My cheap answer is one of these like 1,000-pound fat boys. You know, like a human. Just another, just like one of these guys who like he wears a bed sheet.
You can't take them down though. You'd be punching like they wouldn't even feel it.
Just go for the face. You just suffocate them. You just take them down.
You think you can reach the face?
They can't move.
Reach to get past the stomach.
They can barely move.
Wait, what the fuck?
What
this website says an elephant.
Yeah, but then we're talking about spears and ropes and hatchets and weapons. You give a human a weapon, there's an animal we haven't killed. We've hunted almost every animal into like extinction at this point, Tom. There's not an animal that humans haven't taken down when it comes to having a weapon, but hand to hand. I think another human is actually arguably.
What about a large fish? Does that count? Because they don't have hands.
Yeah,
is it hand to hand if they don't have hands?
I can't.
Because I could take down a large tuna.
Dude, a tuna's fucking huge.
I know, but I can still take one down.
I just don't know. Like, I guess here's what I would say. I don't know what fish out there fight back or are aggressive. Because the only fish I think of that are like aggressive are going to be something that like a marlin or like a shark. I don't think of just like a big fat like tuna.
I don't know if marlins even are aggressive.
Actually know.
I think they're like when they flop around, they're just awkwardly huge and they have a sharp fucking, front. But I don't know if they're aggressive in the water.
I mean, they definitely fight other fish. Yeah,
aren't is it clownfish or
like
angelfish? They're territorial. One of those two is.
I wonder if there's like a huge jellyfish that isn't like venomous,
like a man of war. I was gonna say like a man of war that could easily rip you apart.
Dude, this This Reddit thread is wild. I found it. It's also in no stupid questions. It's what is the largest animal a human could fight and defeat in hand-to-hand combat? No tools or weapons. Basically, the question we did. They're just like listing things, and everyone is giving like use cases where like a human was murdered by like someone was like maybe a deer, and like someone was like actually statistically deer kill more people than bears do. Like they will
doe though,
kick you.
No horns,
but they can kick you enough. Like their kick will kill you.
You have to be in the right spot.
And then someone was like
to their face before they get
I know, but they could
gotta hit it with a sharp
turn around. Someone was like, what about a cow? And then someone's just like listing all the times people have been killed by cows.
God, a cow is
like,
so much worse than a deer.
Well, you'd think that they're a bit slower, also like they topple and shit, but still
stronger.
Basically, it's this Reddit thread is amazing because it's slowly everyone in it coming to the realization that there's not a lot that you could kill. That being said, humans have an crazy compared to a lot of other animals endurance. So apparently you can like pretty much outrun most animals.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we killed a lot of animals, is we just run them down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you hit woolly mammoths with some spears. It's like we just continue to chase after them until they go down, and then you finish. So that's there's not an animal in the world I don't think humanity is yet to kill if we're given the tools. But without tools, we're kind of fucked.
Yeah, without tools. Yeah.
You know, like people that are like, oh, I could take like a silverback. It's like, no, you could not.
I mean,
no, you
could take one on, but you'd die.
It would rip you in half. Have you ever seen those videos where like there's like a video, a little girl goes up to the thing at the gorilla, like at the zoo, at the glass screen, and she pounded her chest, and the big silverback just runs up to the glass screen, and he jumps and slams it, and the first layer of it just cracked. And everyone like ran out of the gorilla area.
This little mini thread is great. Someone was like, blue whale, easy. Someone replied, how? The next guy goes,
get swallowed, fight it from the inside.
Fight it on land. Guy goes, how do you get it on land? He's like, they beach themselves from time to time. You just need to be patient.
No, but in that case,
this is Dan's answer.
Are you really taking it down?
Just found Dan's Reddit account.
Well, that's what he says. The guy's like, I don't know if that would qualify as fight and defeat. And the guy goes, all that matters is you tag some damage on them before they die, and you still get the credit for the kill.
So basically,
that's Halo rules.
That's like video game rules.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Spiffy had another question for us. Which game companies or studios do you think have the best public relations with their fans in the last few years? And how important is it that to you personally when deciding which games to play? I mean, I'll say, first of all, it's not important to me.
No. Because they all have pretty bad relations.
I wish it was.
They're all arrogant at like, unless it's like an indie dev, they're basically all like arrogant or pricks at one point or another, or there's an arrogant prick somewhere there at one point or another.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, is it nice when they're like cool? Sure. But like Phil Spencer loves to be cool. Phil Spencer likes to be like, oh yeah, like gamers and like
everyone's gamer dad.
But I'm also gonna just like shut down studios and fucking like fire tens of thousands of people.
and that is the thing. Which one is the most? I would say Xbox, but it is not. But it is as friendly as a corporation, a mega corporation could be, and they're only doing it because Nintendo.
They're so family friendly. Their face.
Well, their games are family friendly, but their treatment of their customers is abhorrent in some cases. Like the fact, like all the copyright stuff, their fans, like people getting like YouTube videos taken down. The Smash tournament that they shut down.
But we're not usually hearing about like, oh, this game dev is getting canceled from Nintendo.
That's only because they're
getting
Japan.
That from like all of the fucking first-person shooter companies.
I feel like if they were more local,
let me look at the question. Let's look at the question, because it's questions for the pod. Here we go. Which game companies do the best public relations with their fans? Yeah, so to me, I'm reading this like, not necessarily like a developer was more like which has been open.
Then yes, Xbox. I would agree then.
Xbox, maybe Bungie. Like people really like Destiny 2, although there's a lot of people that don't. And especially now that they're on their own, they don't have their hands tied as much.
Niantic with Pokemon Go. So
I was thinking
the Pokemon company, but Niantic, like all the like events they do all the time, the group gatherings, the cons, they do a lot of shit.
I was gonna say Hello Games, the people that make No Man's Sky, like they're constantly putting out so much content for that game.
Still making up. Yo, I'm finally gonna play that game.
Oh, in VR?
Yeah, because I'm getting VR. I'm getting PSVR in like 3 weeks. I'm pumped. I'm going to play fucking No Man's Sky finally.
Yeah, it's a great
6 years later.
It's sure a game.
People love it now.
There's a lot more game in that game.
Yeah.
Now there's now more game in No Man's Sky than the game they said it was going to be.
Yeah.
So like they did eventually make it the game it was going to be, but then they kept doing a lot more stuff. Now there's way more things than they ever promised that didn't deliver on. So that's pretty cool. But I mean, sucks that a lot of people will never touch it. Like I never played it because I was just kind of like, at that point, right?
It is very, checking out now, like there's so much the speed at which you gain things and can do things. It's a very, very cool game. But they've had a very positive relationship with their fans, and I think that the key thing is like they have not only they have made up for the mistakes of that launch and gone, as you said, gone beyond that, and they're continuing to support it. And so I think let's just put it this way: there's very few, but the ones we mentioned, I think, are in the no. And I the cynical part of me wants to say that the only reason that Xbox, kind of like tried to step up its PR when it comes to transparency with players and like things like Game Pass, like that was a market. That was a decision that they made to compete because they knew they couldn't compete with Sony when it came to pumping out exclusives.
Of love for the brand. They had a lot of love during the 360, and then they burned all of it in the course of 1 year when they launched the Xbox One.
So they had to. So they were like, well, what can we do that can radically kind of like even the playing field? We'll build Game Pass. We'll make something like that. We will be more transparent. We will make it so that your games play across devices. We're going to introduce backwards compatibility. Like I don't know if they would have done back compat if like the Xbox One had been a killer hit when it dropped. Like I think that they were kind of forced to do that because it was like, well, you're not getting a ton of games on the system. People aren't really buying the system. Yeah, maybe we can motivate more sales by allowing you to play your 360 games and things like that. So it's great that we have all that, but the cynical part of me tells me it didn't come from like a we care about our fans, and like it came from like we think that this is the only way to stay competitive. So that's the thing with that is like it's so tainted, right? Because it's Microsoft, it's like the biggest company on the planet. Like they're inherently evil. Like it's we just live in such a shitty world. Anyway,
I think that's a show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's time.
It's time.
Check out
nice glasses.
Our Discord. Check out Becoming a Spartan. We're doing these posts.
Sign up Spartans.
Talking about Lost right now. It's a lot of fun. Come check it out. Come watch us live on stream. I love when people are in
the live chat. Hell
live chat, yeah. Especially when you got good guys like Norino and Slater in there. A lot of cool people coming through.
Ibanez man.
A lot of great folks. Until next time, forever and always, I just want you all to do one thing. And that's stay unranked.
Suck it.
Suck it.